Okay, so today is Monday, the 3rd of June 2024, about midday. Air temperature's about 30 degrees centigrade, which is, I think, about 86 Fahrenheit. Now, recently, a few days ago, we just had about 10 days, 2 weeks of very heavy, continuous, almost continuous rain, very, very heavy rain. And that has caused problems in my tubs and in my pond. Now we have a look here. You can see this this jar here. Now that, in fact, was overflowing in the amount of rain, and that is, I think focus is about 180 millimeters, 18 centimeters. So that's the amount of rainfall that we've had in that period of time. And I mean, you can roughly see, there's the tub, there's the rain. That's about 50% of the depth of these tubs, and the same in my pond. So in effect, you're talking about almost a 50% water change in each of the tubs, or potentially in each of the tubs and in the pond. Now, some of that I managed to prevent, because when I had the opportunity, I put cover on the tub like that. But even so, a lot of the rain got in. Now, my water is very soft. My tap water is very soft, and usually the pH of the water in these tubs and in the pond is about 6.6, 6.8. I think most people know, if they keep fish, about pH. pH measures acidity to alkalinity from scale of 1 to 14, and 7 is neutral. Below 7 is acidity, above 7 is alkaline. Now, references you normally say MEDAKA are okay in a pH range of 6.5 to 8. So most of the time, at 6.6 to 6.8, it is acceptable for MEDAKA. I would prefer have it up 7.2, but anyway. So it's acceptable and they're fine. But getting that amount of rainwater in is a big problem. Although the water in the tub is pH 6.6, rainwater where I am has a pH about 5. In other areas where they have an acid rain problem, the pH can be below 5, 4.6, 4.8, I think, something like that. I'm not an expert, okay? I always say that, but if anybody wants to disagree with me, I'm okay, no problem. Anyway, so that's the problem. And when you get all that amount of rain at an acidity of pH 5 going into here, then the pH drops down to about 6. And the MEDAKA are not very happy at a pH of 6. Particularly the females will stop producing eggs. And even though I make a quick water change, maybe it takes them a couple of weeks or so to get back to a really healthy, strong condition again. That's the problem I always have. Lots of heavy rain, a water change as quickly as I can, and measure the pH. I don't micromanage, with pH tests and stuff like that. But if there's any very heavy rain, I check. I normally find out pH is down towards 6, and then I do maybe 20%, 30% water change and get it back up to a pH of about 6.6, 6.8 if I can, and then everything gets back reasonably to normal. The other thing I'll sort of say about pH while I'm on it, as I say, my water is very soft. Really, there is no buffer against acidity. If you've got hard water, that will buffer any acidity problem, or help buffer any acidity problem you have. So, though my tap water is about 7.6 pH, and I put 7.6 pH water in here, any biological process, like, you see the sponge filter there, which is dealing with nitrites and ammonia. Any biological process like that, plants growing, reduces the pH level, makes the water more acid. So even though I do a water change, say today, 20% with pH of 7.6, within a few days it's probably down to about 6.8. And that's the way it goes. And it would keep going on down, I think, even without any acid rain. It would still keep going down because of the biological process, which is why I do water changes maybe every week, every 10 days, something like that, just to adjust the pH level back to about 6.8, 6.6. So that's the position with my tubs. That's my tubs. Had a problem with all that rainfall. Do water changes, the water pH goes from 6 back up to 6.6 maybe, and MEDAKA are reasonably happy again. Within maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, they'll start producing eggs again. But very, very occasionally I get something wrong and I don't do it properly, and that can cause problems because the pH will drop down below 6. And this has just happened with my pond. I got a pH crash because of all that rainfall going into the pond. pH crash to below 6, and that killed the 5 goldfish I had in the pond, and probably about half of the MEDAKA. I didn't, because it was raining so much and so many days, I didn't really keep an eye on the pond, and the fish suffered a lot. So I'll just add in a clip here to show my pond as it was before the rain. You can see the goldfish, you can see the MEDAKA, and then I'll talk about exactly what happened. So this is the pond now. No goldfish and very few MEDAKA. I think before maybe 30 or 40 MEDAKA, now maybe 15 to 20 roaming around. You can see a few here or there. The problem was, when the heavy rain started, the pond was only about 2/3 full. The pond's got a capacity of about 1,000 litres, but it's got a slow leak. Maybe it loses about 150 litres a week, which is okay. Makes my life easy, really, because it means I don't have to take water out when I do 10, 15, 20% water change. I only have to add about 150 litres of new water. So yeah, so I don't mind a small leak like that. Sometimes a bit more when there's evaporation. But anyway, that's about what happens. But the problem is, I neglected the pond for a couple of weeks or so and didn't add any water. And before the rain started, probably there was only about 700 litres of water in there. The pH maybe 6.6, something like that. And the heavy rain very, very quickly dumped about 300 litres of pure pH 5 rainwater into the pond before the pond filled up and started overflowing. And that, I think, caused the crash, the pH crash of the pond water down to below 6. Now, in my experience, MEDAKA are okay at, say, pH 6.5 and can survive short periods of time down to a pH of about 6. But a sudden pH crash to below 6 would weaken them considerably. And that's why I think, about half of them subsequently died by the end of the heavy rainfall. Now, goldfish, I think, much prefer an alkaline pH above 7, maybe 7, 7.5, 7.8, something like that. And obviously a sudden pH crash to below 6 was too much for them, and all the 5 goldfish have died. Now the goldfish have usually survived heavy rain like this before, but by then, I think then, previous times the pond would have been 100% full with 1,000 litres of 6.6 pH water when the rain started. So although the same amount of pH 5 rain would have entered the pond, it would have been initially diluted within the full pond water, the full 1,000 litres, before it all started overflowing. So the pH would have gone down to maybe 6, but there wouldn't have been a crash in the way that happened this time. Now, yeah, because of my low pH, I usually only have kept ordinary standard goldfish in here, no fancy goldfish. They really do like, I think, a more alkaline water quality. And these common goldfish are usually robust enough to be okay with a pH down to 6 on occasions, are similar to the MEDAKA. So there we are. Another lesson learned. I'll have to be more careful to ensure that the pond is kept full for heavy rain in future. Now, probably, I'll just add, probably if I'd noticed this was happening during the heavy rainfall, I could have grabbed a whole load of, I think, sodium bicarbonate and slowly added it to the water, which would, on a temporary basis, bring the pH up towards 7. But I didn't do that. Maybe I'll make sure I got some sodium bicarbonate and think maybe that will be an emergency standby if in future I'm careless enough to have a similar problem. Okay.